The deed is done. I have watched 2004 film Troy yet again. So movie notes on Troy 2004 film, 11 August 2026 viewing. Tanis Shearhurst of Seattle, talk through my movie notes for my Tuesday, 11 August 2026 AD viewing of the 2004 film Troy, which is a biographical film depicting elements of the Battle of Troy, incorporating individuals on each side, Trojans, Greeks, in the storytelling. And it does say on the movie jacket, based on the Iliad by Homer, and then in the end credits it actually said inspired by Homer's The Iliad. And there's a character in here, Odysseus. It was portrayed by Sean Bean. So yes, there we go. The Battle of Troy was what, over 3,000 years before present as of when I'm filming this, and it's notable in terms of how it was fought. There was a lot of symbology, and then, like, let's call them very stripped down, simplified, novel military concepts used in the war. And I realized as the movie was ending and was preparing for this, I marked my first time seeing this movie after reading the Iliad by Homer. So there we go. So this marked my first time at seeing 2004 film Troy after reading the Iliad by Homer, which I read earlier this year. And I've watched this a lot. I saw it in theaters, and I've done a video previously where I compared. There was a different DVD copy. It was a director's cut that I watched part of, and compared with seeing in a movie theater. I'm not highlighting the nautical elements this time. I suppose I should include that in that playlist / project, though. It has really good. The sails on the ships kind of remind me of like beach towels in this viewing, and it did earlier in life as well. So the plot / cinematic style I thought is very kind of early 2000s, but like true to Hollywood. That's like, I'd say, incorporated kind of like a filming style that kind of like, there's movies that like back in the 1950s kind of had like the magical in-person feel to it that is captured on screen, that's really lacking or missing entirely from some Hollywood movies these days, because it doesn't necessarily use like really just like kind of stripped down scenery without computer graphics and stuff, or like kind of really emphasizing the in-person elements. So I really like that. The plot is following the Greeks and the Trojans, so both sides leading up to and during the Trojan War, and kind of through the end of the Trojan War, so to speak. And it includes Hector and his public killing and battling to the death, and then the Trojan horse. So it includes big plot elements of the Battle of Troy. There's an opening battlefield scene with Achilles in it. I think that Achilles is supposed to be me in the Trojan War Part 2. Each side calls a warrior to fight to the death. The winning side is the one of the surviving fighters. So there's like two armies, and then they each call a soldier, and then the two soldiers fight to the death, and that's how the battle is determined, which one survives. The surviving one, that side wins. I was like, I think that's supposed to be me. Oh, you know, I have great granddaddy Agamemnon. Like, that's supposed to be me. I think. So, and then there's a closing scene with the ruler of Troy watching it burn to the ground, Troy. And he was far less enthusiastic than my great granddaddy Nero when Rome burned. Yeah, I was like, I saw it, and he was like, like. And I was like, great granddaddy Nero. I have, my little harp, so to speak, that I made in high school for class. And like, he played music as Rome burned. And I was like, that was not the same for Troy. Troy, I suppose, burned before Rome, though, to preserve the chronology. So there we go. In terms of my other notes for this ring, in addition to my taking Homer, is Hector up for grabs? I call dibs. Yes, this frisky little partial Greek lady wants a good-looking Trojan man. Oh, the family blasphemy. Great granddaddy clarifies the price of my adding Hector is my adding Achilles as well. This viewing was similar to one's growing up where I seriously entertained being Greek / a descendant of one of the big deal Greek military guys. And I was like, no, my luck, that'd be Agamemnon. Now / then, a question for me, if for him / me, if that were true, is how many military services would I need to satisfy the thirst for blood for a particular female descendant of his? Me. They go, we're still pissed about the Trojan horse. You really think you wouldn't have to fight? And so, how many times am I going to have to be in the military service, you know, to satisfy that thirst for blood as like vengeance? And I was like, with eternal youth? Question mark. How about 26 military services? Like, just because I show up and perform, it does not necessitate sufficing satiation. So, I think that's a very important point, is like, just because I show up and I serve in the military doesn't mean it suffices in satiating their thirst for blood. Okay, so to actually suffice in satisfying that blood thirst. How many do we go to get that need check marked, so to speak? All right. And then, so if I go to graduate school in Greece for Greek language and literature graduate degrees, how could I make military service work if it became something for me to do in addition to my studies? So I've brought up Greek language and literature graduate degree, you know, kind of like be interesting to me, and brought up the works of Homer, including the Iliad. And so it was like, yeah, so now in addition to that, and my cardiology stuff, tack on their military service. So how am I going to make that work? So perhaps I get a dwelling helper / earthquake proofer. Greece has been known for some big cracks in architecture in relation to earthquakes. At family reunions, so essentially, like, I'm living at a place in Greece, and I'm concerned, like, military service means I'm going to be away from the place. So who takes care of the place? You know, maybe there's a live-in reader, maybe there's my Tom Holland, you know, maybe Homer comes and goes as we're working on our companionship. And I was like, how about somebody just look after the building? And like, Greece has had some earthquakes, but not necessarily like recently, or is well known for it these days. But it was like somebody kind of like that kind of thing. And so at family reunions I went to growing up, I called one guy my guy. Maybe he would be up to help earthquake proof my residence in Greece. Pay him as I can. All that West Seattle Bridge in Seattle, field work back in 2020, perhaps in relation to cracks in the bridge, was pointing to this pathway. And I'll link to that playlist in the video description, or at least I intend to, West Seattle Bridge playlist. I went and I looked at different bridges, including the West Seattle Bridge and the Spokane Street Bridge, and there were cracks in the bridge, and I was like, maybe it was like pointing to Greece and like the architecture that cracked, and I need to take like a my guy, and you know, Tom Holland's like, well, then I'd like to learn. Maybe you YouTube, maybe I YouTube, maybe we share, I don't know, that kind of thing. So would my guy want to, you know, get help me out that way? I'd love it if he did. And Tom Holland's like, teach me, man. So if he's up for it too. So there we go. As our movie notes on Troy, 2004 film, 11 August 2026 viewing, 5 out of 5 stars.